Alrighty, we are back, the Choking Hazard podcast with one of our kind of first guests. Patrick Teruel is with us. He is our announcer at the Ace Jiu-Jitsu Pro Championships as we do the commenting. Patrick is the ideal candidate to talk to the people and get them in face, where rather we stay behind the scenes and we send him out to deal with all the people out there.
Our terrible commenting, Aaron, for the record. Not even commentating, it's just commenting on fights.
Hey, you know what? I think people like our takes on things when we talk about, the difference between Swiss Chalet and
Bear.
Yeah, exactly. These are important takes, right? So, but
I didn't know so many people were shitting on Saint Hubert. I didn't think it was that bad. The times I've been to Quebec, it's been a nice little change of pace.
I've had nothing but great experiences at Saint Hubert.
But you know what? I put a poll out to see what the deal, who chooses what, and it was Swiss Chalet by a landslide. It wasn't even a contest.
Maybe they just don't visit Quebec as often.
Possible, right?
Maybe Aaron just voted several times for Swiss Chalet.
No, you can only vote once. Maybe I'm on my burner account, so I'm not sure.
Aaron's padding his stats.
I'll just say this: my business partner Tony Isaacs. Let's just say he's a big fan of Swiss Chalet, and he's very surprised that a lot of his people do not eat there. I'm just going to leave it at that. Don't cancel me.
Well, I don't know. Swiss Chalet.
So, Patrick, what is going on, man? It's been we saw each other recently, but we haven't had you on the podcast in a while. So, how things going otherwise?
It's good, man. Thanks, guys. Thanks again for having me back. Been really, really busy. Just trying to build Neo and kind of provide the community with as amazing service as we can, and we're growing. So it's been tough to manage, but enjoyable nonetheless.
Excellent. So obviously, you're kind of got your hands in a lot of different things, obviously with Ace Jiu-Jitsu Championships happening. We're going to get more in depth, especially when we look at World Championships coming up, right? So I think that's the biggest thing that we wanted to chat about. So I'm going to leave the ball over to you, because I know there's a lot of things that you want to kind of talk about, because we do have a lot of competition coming up, especially in the springtime that's happening. But we got a big one coming up April 1st.
Yeah.
So let's chat about it.
Yeah, so the Nationals, so the Canadian Nationals, we're trying to push this event because honestly, this is going to be my third year of involvement with the CJA, and having been to Abu Dhabi, it really, really inspired me. Having been there with all these amazing athletes and competing against athletes from across the world that you would never compete with or even hang out with or train with otherwise, it really inspired me to try and have a more active role in promoting the national team and promoting the national championships and getting people to sign up for the tournament, because those who qualify for it, if they find their way over to wherever it is in the world that the World Championships are held, to represent Team Canada, it's going to be an unbelievable experience. I missed the first 2 years. The one World Championship was in, I believe it was in Sweden. And then the year after that was in Colombia. Both experiences, my roommates at the time, Andrew Buckley, when I went to Abu Dhabi with him, he was telling me how it was just an unbelievable experience. And this is a chance really for people who love to train in jiu-jitsu and who love to compete in jiu-jitsu to see jiu-jitsu being practiced, performed, and to see other competitors from across the globe do their thing. And that alone inspired me to take a more active role in promoting the national team.
So Pat, I got a question for you. So a lot of people are wondering, JJIF, IBJJF, Abu Dhabi, what are the differences between the main organizations, and why is the JJIF so important, not just to you, but to, I guess, growing the amateur as well as indirectly the professional jiu-jitsu scene?
Okay, so there's just really one bottom line. The JJIF, should jiu-jitsu ever become an Olympic sport, the road would lead through the JJIF. Like the IBJJF is a for-profit organization, right? So the JJIF is managing and organizing amateur sport, right? So much like the IJF for judo, right? So this is their equivalent for jiu-jitsu. Now, I see a lot of, honestly, I see a lot of trashing online too, right? Like people don't understand jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu as a martial art is amazing, but as a sport, sometimes can get a little boring to watch, right? So the JJIF has various rule sets depending on the style. Like if we're just doing, say, straight grappling, it would be like Niwaza style, like just grappling. But there's also jiu-jitsu fighting, which I feel that there's a bit of a misconception about, right? I watched the jiu-jitsu fighting. So basically it has 3 levels of scoring, right? Where you have like a striking component, a takedown component, and then a Niwaza component. I feel that there's been a bit of a misunderstanding, a misconception, or a lot of back and forth going on between like more traditional BJJ guys like us and people who are trying to push it. But to be honest with you, if jiu-jitsu does become an Olympic sport, I feel that it will go that route where there is going to be a like straight up Niwaza, like just ground fighting aspect, and there will also be like a jiu-jitsu fighting aspect. So that's why, I just want to help promote the experience and promote like the differences between the rule sets, just to help people in the community understand, exactly what it is and why we're pushing it so hard.
So let me ask you this, because like when we look at like the ideas of like amateur and then pro, right? Because I think the biggest thing when we look at a lot of athletes are, okay, well, they want to get paid for grappling and just in general. They want to start getting into pro shows and all that kind of stuff. Where do you think, and you might not even have the answer to this, like, where do you think the line's going to be? Because like, if we're trying to keep a sport amateur, for example, you're competing in your IBJJF, your local tournaments, and then obviously for the national team. But then if you start going to shows of being like who's number 1 or fight to win and all these things where they pay athletes, is that going to disinclude the individual from the national teams as an amateur level?
Oh, that's a really good question, because you have a point there. Like once people start getting paid for stuff, they become professional athletes, right?
Yeah.
But like, the NBA started a precedent with sending their pro athletes to the Olympics, right? So this is my opinion. I'm gonna say it shouldn't have an effect if you're doing fight to wins, and if you're doing who's number 1s, and if you start getting paid for these like big events, like if you try to represent your country in this aspect, I feel that rules have to be in place. But in my opinion, I mean, the best grapplers are the best grapplers, whether they're professional or not. So there is a line there that it's super gray, man. You gotta have
I mean, like
guys that,
the same idea is like even like the hockey teams and then the
right.
basketball and baseball, and like I get it, like there has to be agreements, right? But I think it was just a question, right? Because you're gonna have all these different, do we want it to be amateur sport or pro, right? Because then you're gonna get like
To be
all
honest,
sorts of different people.
we're still in such an infancy stage of this that in my personal opinion, my professional opinion, we should have the more the merrier. We just need to get these athletes out there and try to like represent their countries and go. Man, the athletes from other countries, like these countries like the Israel, Thailand, Kazakhstan, they come in force. Like they bring a ton of athletes, right? They come full force for these events, right? So yeah, like for us in North America, like we should be bringing just as many. Now, albeit there is a difficulty because we would have to travel across the world, right? But it's no different from like if you play rep hockey, rep basketball, right? There are there is an expense to an extent that you'd have to spend to be part of these experiences, right? So
Yeah.
I think a best analogy is we had Tony on a previous podcast that Aaron refuses to release for some reason, and he related it to amateur and professional hockey. So the amateur like sporting body would be, for example, the IHHF, like the International IIHF, the International Ice Hockey Federation,
federation,
basically,
yeah.
and they're the ones that kind of oversee like Olympic hockey and all that. But then what you said is, hey, you'll have NHL players playing in the Olympics, and they're getting paid millions of dollars. But then you also have professional sporting bodies like the NHL, where you have the best, basically hockey players from all over the world getting paid millions of dollars to do that. So I guess from my perspective is, why can't you have both? Both are great to develop both streams, amateur and professional.
Well, I agree, and a lot of it is like old school traditional wording, right? Like, let's face it, man. When you're training for these Olympic level events or world level, I'm looking at the promotions for the nationals, and it talks about world level athletes. Well, if you're a world level athlete, you're training like a pro. Like you're not training like an amateur to do an amateur sport. Like you're trying to train like a professional athlete to try to get yourself to the next level, right? So I mean, yeah, like there's no such thing as amateur training and pro training when you're getting to this like elite world class level. So yeah, the more the merrier in my opinion. Let's bring it. Let's get all of our best guys and let's all get over there.
Now I have a question. So I've never been to obviously one of these competitions, but now when you look at like the gold medal and obviously the gold standard for these comps, are they drug testing?
Yeah, funny, funny you mentioned that. Abu Dhabi, Abu Dhabi had, I believe they had the contract for 3 years to do the World Championships, JJF World Championships there. So it's pretty wild. So if you hit gold or silver, they bring you to the back and then they drug test you like right away, right? In the adult divisions. Yeah, man.
So that means, hold on, that means me and Aaron are definitely out of this competition.
So we're out.
No way, man. Yeah. You guys, yeah.
Especially Aaron. He's gonna melt the cup.
I'll melt the cup. So you're telling me that like
Your levels will be
Ragnar
elevated.
and fucking Cyborg and all those other guys, they're not going to be able to go to these.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. Again, the perception. I was talking to a couple of guys from Brazil. When I was warming up for my division. The last time I was there, and yeah, again, the general perception is that like the skill level like isn't as high. So to answer your question, these elite Brazilians, like they probably wouldn't even look in this direction, right? But at the same time, why not? Why not grow the sport and show how good you guys really are at this level? If the more top level guys show up at these events and represent their country, then the more chances that other countries' top level guys are going to go. It's just like one after the other, right? Like iron sharpens iron, even on the competition mats. So,
gotcha. Well, like what Mike's hero says is like steroids beat technique all the time, so it doesn't matter. So
exactly, I agree. So my question is, Aaron, do we send Nicky Rod? Would he represent the USA if it's drug tested? Natty Rod.
He, like I said, he will piss on that cup and it'll catch on fire.
Piss on that cup. Hopefully he's in it. I don't want him on it, over it.
He has to place 1, 2 first. I mean, it's highly likely he'd place 1 or 2. So, but yes, for sure, they'll pull you. They're gonna pull you aside and then they're gonna say, "Here's the cup."
Yeah, for sure. Okay, excellent. So when you look at like, what do you think are like some of the next steps as far as like helping either promote obviously this event, but obviously like future events to get more people involved in these national? Because again, like we're looking for Canada's top talent. How do we get all those people congregated in, obviously, whether it's Ontario? Did we have to expand outside of Ontario to get these competitions going, to get these athletes together?
I was actually talking to Tony about this on the plane ride, and you know, the every province should try to get their like the PSO together to basically host their own provincial championships, and then hopefully we can get together and then start to like organize like a true national championship, right? But because very few have been able to do so. This is again, I don't want to be misquoted, but this is my understanding of it, and you know, Ontario right now is the most organized, right? So we're taking that torch and we're inviting everyone else to come this way, right? But hopefully it improves, right? Like I'd be down to travel to BCE and do something and do like a national championships there if it ever happens in the future. I'd be down to go to Winnipeg, and you know, I would like to see that.
Ugh, Winnipeg, why? Ugh,
Hey, whatever. Like,
yeesh.
my opinion is like I would be totally down to take my kids.
My uneducated
Those
opinion is on
other
Winnipeg. It
provinces.
sucks. But go on.
But yes, you know, how about Regina? I'll go to Regina and do the Saskatchewan national championships, and then have everyone from Ontario go over there. I mean, ultimately, that's how I see it. That if I was able to put all the chess pieces together myself, then yeah, in a perfect world, you know, every year we should be able to rotate. But it does take a ton of organization, and again, to my understanding, like we're so far the most organized, so hence we can take the torch.
Well, I think also,
Joking aside, though, you brought up an important point. Is, you know, it's, you know, everybody's like, oh, like you're in Ontario, you're just sending all these people to nationals. There's still some provinces you can't even legally run Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments, such as
Right.
Quebec, for example, without because they don't have an official PSO. From my understanding, is they're currently working on it, but I think to get the sport to the next level, you need to build the amateur side of things, and then the professional will follow. And I think that's a very important point that you brought up too. Is like we need to get all on the same page. Like every province, especially even if it's Manitoba. Unfortunately, you have to work with Manitoba. Shout out to Winnipeg. But with that said, in all seriousness, every province needs to get organized so that way we can build the sport to the next level, not just in Canada, but across the globe.
Yeah, 100%, man. And you know, the competitive advantage that a lot of these countries from across the globe have is that they're funded. A lot of them are funded by like their governments to some extent. So like these kids. So I'm just going to talk about the U21s, U18s, and U16s because that's where my passion lies, right? With the youth. So
With the youth.
So these kids, like they fight with a desperation like no other, right? And it's really, really, really inspiring. It's really inspiring to watch how these kids like spam the rule sets. Like, you know, they fight to win. They will grab on into every single advantage they can, and they'll hold on to the death, right? Because a lot of times, like these kids are funded by their governments. If they lose, maybe they don't get to do jiu-jitsu anymore, at least for that year, right? So, you know, like these kids really, really fight to win over there. They fight with an unreal determination, and it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's funny because like even you saying that like the youth competition, like I was at a tournament over the weekend, like a super fight show, and they had 2 juvenile matches that went on, and they were probably the most exciting matches out of the entire card. And not the saying that the card was bad, like it's just saying like it's the most fast paced, the most stuff going on were those 2 matches because those kids were just going after each other.
Man, kids here in North America, like we've got so much talent here, but you know, we don't have it nearly as tough as kids from across the globe, right? So like imagine these kids these kids are so talented because they want to represent for their school, they want to represent for their parents, their families, their friends. That's the pressures that they have here in North America, right? They have the same pressures down there in Israel. They have the same pressures down there, with the added pressure of, oh, by the way, like we're funding you to be here, right? Like, you know, like there's a chance that you won't come back next year if you lose, right? It's
Yeah.
madness, man. It's wild, but yeah, it's definitely fun to watch.
So when you look at like, if you had to kind of put like a rally call on this whole thing, where it'd be like, okay, you got one, like this is what we want to blast out to the internet, blast out to people, and be like, okay, hey, this is how we're gonna do it. What do we need to tell people or the competitors out there, and be like, hey, we need you to come to these tournaments. What's your rally call for these guys?
My rally call is you miss 1,000% of the shots that you don't take. So
That's a lot of shots.
Was,
It's 1,000 shots. That's a lot of shots.
yeah, you miss. If you don't take a shot, you're gonna miss out an opportunity. Like, sign up for the tournament, try to make your way, try to qualify for the national team, get invited, and then, you know, then you can take it from there, right? We want the best U21s, U18s, U16s, adults. We want the best adults to come out and prove that they're the best in Canada. Like, prove it, right? And then you win your spot, you earn your spot, and then if it's not for you, we're gonna move on to the next, like, to the next people on the list, right? But if the list is only like 3 people, then okay, obviously 1 and 2 are gonna get invited, right? But the more people, you know, if the list is 8 to 9 people, I mean, that's very exciting, right? You guys got to shoot your shot. Like, this kind of an opportunity to represent your country, it goes beyond, like, you know, and being like an IBJJF champion, right? Obviously, it's super glamorous. Like, that's everyone's goal is to win a big IBJJF tournament. Everyone who competes in jiu-jitsu, sorry. Anyone who competes in jiu-jitsu, like, you know, that's a big goal of theirs, right? I want a medal. I want to hit the podium at one of these IBJJF majors, right? But why not prove that you're the best in your country and see if you can get another opportunity to experience, you know, a world that you may otherwise never see, right? Yeah, these kids who came with us, and again, I'm going to speak more from on a perspective of U21s, U18s, U16s. Last year, we took the most of those categories ever, right? And I was honored enough to be able to organize and coach a lot of those kids. And just to watch them interact with, you know, people from like Africa, people from the Middle East, right? People from Asia, you know, we were sharing training spaces with these guys, and just see how universal jiu-jitsu is. They have these kids now, like the Julianas and Hannahs and Malcolms and Pierres of our community. They have they have stories to tell their friends who do jiu-jitsu that most people will never be able to tell, right? And it's because they shot their shot. So shoot your shot. That's my message. Come and compete, and then we'll see. You can see for yourself if it's for you. If you can fundraise and you know, build your GoFundMe accounts and try to get yourself, you know, there.
Do you feel, well, actually, here's a question. So how's the registration going so far? Like, have we gotten to a spot where, like, hey, you know what? Like, and it's not to say that competitors have gone in the past of, you know, they only had like 2 people in their division, but like, are we getting that traction where we're going to see more people competing for that national team spot? Because I mean, like, at the end of the day, like IBJJF, yeah, like that's what the you said, like the glamour idea, like, because everybody knows about it. It's on Flow, it's here, you see it, it's all IBJJF World
100%.
Championships or whatever. But you think about a national title, like you're the best in your country, and again, if you go to the world and you go across the country, across the world to go compete for a gold medal, it's an Olympic gold medal, basically. It's just not Olympics. Like that's huge compared to IBJF. I'm sorry, that's my opinion, but
we have an opportunity to be trailblazers in the sport for Canada, right? And it's if you are a trailblazer, more opportunities will open up for other people. So one of, like, you know, this is a philosophy that I fully believe in, right? you may not happen for you today, but you might open up opportunities for the people after you. And that is just as important. That's just as important. If you grow, the way we grow, the way we're growing our sports sometimes is very secular, right? We want to just, be the best, be the best in Canada, like be the best in Ontario, right? I want to win all these local tournaments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, I'm looking at the registrations right now, and what I'm really like impressed with is the amount of kids now, the amount of kids. So it looks like because we've opened up non-qualifiers, so now kids 8, 9, 10, 11 are registering. That is dope, because I'm hoping that they're going to have an amazing experience. Those kids are going to turn into youth next year. They're going to register for nationals.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to win. So now you're going to have like, I'm just going to pull out a random name here, right? Joshua Roberts. Okay. Like, he's a kid, right? He wins nationals as a youth. Then he wins nationals again as a kids 3. He wins nationals. Youth 1, he wins nationals. Youth 2, he wins nationals. Joshua Roberts becomes a 3-time national champion, and then he turns 14. Now he goes under 16, and now he goes in the qualifier. How cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, how cool would that be for a kid like this to be like, I'm a 3-time national champion, I'm the best in Canada, you guys can't beat me, and now I'm going to qualify for the national team when his time comes, right? And this is what's inspiring me right now. Like, I'm like kind of scrolling down the list, lots of kids. I think it's very smart. Shouts out to the OJA, CJA. I think it was very smart for them to include non-qualifier divisions to get them get these non-qualifiers used to signing up for this tournament, so that when they become qualifiers, the hype is there.
I think at the end of the day, you mentioned something very important is, like, when I was like a blue belt and a purple belt many, many moons ago with Aaron, there weren't really a lot of opportunities to like, oh, like, I'm going to go to nationals, I'm going to do this event, and like, I'm going to get paid. There wasn't really much of that. It was like, you go do pans, you go do worlds, and maybe you try to do some privates, maybe you try to teach at your gym that you're at, and that's really about it. Now there's a lot more where, whether it's amateur or not, there's more opportunities. And when there's more opportunities, there'll be more financial opportunities for everybody, amateur or professional, it doesn't matter.
100%. And I'm going to say something about self-promotion. Okay. Like, there's shameless self-promotion. There's like extreme self-promotion, but there's also self-promotion in terms of using your clout to get sponsorships, right? Now, the more of these tournaments you win, the more you can say that you're. So let's see, like the three most prestigious tournaments, are what? The Ontario Open.
Yeah, that would be, say, one of them.
We're talking in Ontario or the country?
In Ontario.
Yeah, Ontario.
Let's say
Open.
Ontario.
Yeah, Ontario Open. So what? In provincials, right?
Yeah.
And then hopefully nationals, right? So if you're a kid or a youth and you win nationals, like say 4 or 5 times, or let's say you're an adult white belt, right? And then you win nationals twice, and then you win again, right? And you're also mopping people at provincials and Ontario Open. So now you have this like resume of, I'm an X-time national champion, X-time provincial champion, X-time Ontario Open champion. Well, now you can use that on your social media, right? And you can use that to try to get sponsors, to sponsor your accommodations, your flights and accommodations.
Yeah.
Right? Like, again, there is work involved in getting yourself from point A to point B. So it's not like I win, therefore you must pay for me. It doesn't work that. Unfortunately, the world doesn't work that way, right? You have to win, and then you have to use the clout you've built to try to like build on it, right? The more you build on it, the better it is going to be, the more opportunities you can open up, right? And I find that we don't look for enough opportunities. We're not using our accomplishments like efficiently, right?
Yeah, like I think that's what, but that's all. You have good coaches, good role models to help you build that, right? So obviously, like, hey, this is how we're going to help you build your credibility, help you build the way that you can, financially support yourself to go to these types of tournaments, right?
Yeah,
You're
100%, right?
you're
And again, like I don't want to I'm not here to talk about like coaches. Every coach is wonderful. There's a reason why coaches have people at their academies, because they flock to them, right? Like minds think alike and they stick together, right? So, I'm sure that everyone creates, and I see it all over the community. I see it online on social media. The schools are starting to really pick up and try to get support for their students, right? But ultimately, like, we can use these accomplishments that we have, or that we attain, to like help promote ourselves, and it's working. A lot of kids are getting these are getting these sponsorships. It's working. I can see it, and it's fun. It's pretty awesome to see.
No, that's awesome. All right, man. So like, before we kind of wrap up, like, is there anything else kind of like that we want to either put out there in the world, other than it's April 1st, National Championships going. So the National
Yeah.
Qualifier, sorry.
So
You can still register. Registration is still open. When's the registration close?
all right, so let's wrap it up like this. So April 1st, Canadian National Championship. Okay, kids, juveniles, adults, masters. It's going to be at Centennial College. That's in Scarborough, Progress Avenue in Scarborough. You guys can check this out on Smooth Comp. Okay. Early bird registrations are done. Normal registration, the deadline is March 27. Okay. Weigh-ins, by the way, weigh-ins. Your weigh-in for nationals, if you're going for qualifiers, is not in the gi, right? So if you're going for a non-qualifier division, you would weigh in like as a regular like OJA tournament. But it's really important to note that if you're looking to win one of the qualifiers, your weigh-in, your weight will be number one in kilos, and number two, you'd weigh in without the gi.
Is that day before or day of?
There will be a day before weigh-in, and there also going to be a day of weigh-in.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the qualifiers for the world team are going to be adults blue and up, under 21, under 18, under 16, right? Everyone else is considered non-qualifier. Masters, if you win your blue and up divisions, you can potentially be invited to compete at the World Championships. And yeah, in July, the World Championships, the JJF World Championships, are going to be in Mongolia. And in August, the U21, U16, U18 championships will be in Kazakhstan.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's going to be fun times. Adults and masters will be in Mongolia.
Okay.
Is there going to be drug testing in Mongolia?
Man, those guys are huge, man. Like I would hope so. Yeah. Buddy,
If there's drug testing, count me in, Aaron, out.
Yeah, man, I hope to never face someone from Mongolia, man. It's scary. I was World Masters. I think after I was supporting your match, Mike, the mat next to you was this gigantic Mongolian dude, like on the other side, because you were on one side of the mat, and the other 9 mats, there's this one gigantic Mongolian dude. He just ripped through his division, man. And
He did. Was he coming into the mat on a horse?
No. He didn't Genghis Khan his way onto the mat.
Did he try to break down the Great Wall of China?
It looked like he could break the Great Wall of China down.
Oh, Jesus.
With his bare hands. He was
with his bare
That's
hands.
fun. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, all right, guys.
Coming in on horseback.
Yeah, but yeah, I hope to see a lot of people register, and right now, so far so good. And let's get more people in there. Let's get more people. And like I said, you guys got to shoot your shot. This is a really good chance for you to leave a mark on the community that's off the beaten path, right? So far, again, we're still in our infancy, but let's make this mainstream. Like, let's make this one of the most prestigious titles to win.
Yeah.
Well,
And you made an important, that's an important point. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't make. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Michael Scott, right? And I think the biggest thing you also said too is like people have always been complaining that there's no opportunity for them. They don't have a platform. They don't have something to do. This is that platform. This is their opportunity to do it. And if they don't do it, that's 100% on them, and they should stop bitching. Plain and simple.
Before we go, I want to talk about one athlete in particular. Perfect example, actually. Her name is Rain Fath, and so she was doing really well in locals, right? She competed nationals, she won her division, and then she went and was able to represent, right? Super nice girl, right? She's and she competed at the Ace.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Ace
Rain.
Club,
Yeah.
right?
I remember.
And man, she won. She won the World Championships. Like, she won her division. Like, it was unbelievable, right? So like, you would have, if Rain stayed local, right, then that's
You
it.
never know. You never
You
know what she
never
would
know.
do.
But she shot her shot, ended up in Abu Dhabi, had an amazing time. She got to see the desert. She got to do so many things that, like, so many cool things. And on top of that, she went and rickrolled her division. So, you know what I mean? And it's like, and then after that, it's like, okay, now Rain's one of the top girls around. Let's invite her to the Ace Jiu-Jitsu Pro Cup. Shameless plug. But that's how it works, right? Like,
Yeah.
you kind of build your rep through your accomplishments here, through shooting your shot, you creating opportunities. And Rain smashed down a door, and she can say she's a world champion, right?
Yeah.
And not many people can.
No, for sure.
That's the bottom line.
I think that's the biggest message for everybody. You need to shoot your shot, plain and simple.
Shoot your shot. Yeah,
Awesome.
Or as Aaron likes to say, shoot your shoot.
Shoot your shoot.
man.
shoot your shoot.
Yeah. So shoot your shoot, Aaron.
Shoot my shoot. That's it. Shoot down the shoot.
Guys, when are we training and recording another Aaron and Coach P rolling session?
Oh yeah, we need to do that soon. It's March break.
It's March
Yeah,
break,
when is that happening, Aaron? And what location are we going to be doing that at?
send location.
Send location. Yeah. I don't know.
We just need to make sure we're invited first.
Yeah.
You're always
Hey,
invited, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
we'll make it out to Brampton. I say we make it out to Brampton. We'll do the traveling rotation. So what days do you have noon classes now?
Tomorrow and Wednesday, come. I'll send location.
Tuesdays. Okay.
Yeah, well, you guys can
Yeah.
beat.
Well,
you guys can
we'll
beat the
figure it
crap
out.
out of me, man. It's my last week before Pans.
Oh, you got your pan stuff going on.
Yeah,
Cool.
please come and just break Coach P, man. Just beat me up.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. I'll check my schedule.
All right, guys. Well,
Mike,
We can consult my calendar.
yeah, Mike. I don't know what Mike's schedule is like, so he's working at like 3 different places. I have no idea anymore.
I'm basically I'm all over the place.
yeah. He's Mike's enjoying owner life now.
Well, that's that entrepreneurial life with the.
Oh,
and he's
man.
still the whole deal, the whole different thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, Mike, I might come see you on Thursday. I'm trying. I've been trying to come and see you guys, but I might make it happen this Thursday.
You are welcome anytime you want, sir.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if you're gonna do Thursday night, why don't we do Thursday night?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that.
Mike, you gonna be there?
All right.
You're teaching or
Thursday.
what?
Am I going to be there?
Yeah. You gotta
Of
work.
course I'm going to be there. It's my school, you jackasses.
Yeah. But yo, guys, thanks again. I hope I represented the association well in this conversation, but I really wanted just to really share my thoughts on why this is important, right? And like all jokes aside, like it's a really, 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 really life-changing experience to travel, and to travel doing something you love to do. There's nothing better than that, to see the world through a lens of something that you already enjoy doing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, so thanks again, and hopefully I'll see you guys on Thursday for sure.
Yeah, man, for sure. Awesome, Pat. It's been a great pleasure. love having you on the show, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, guys. See you guys.
All right, buddy. See ya.